Hi, thank you for joining me. I'm Amy Barrickman, and this is One Room at a Time. This is where we talk about all things design, all things interior design, and more about all things you, because this is all about giving you the tools that you need in order to create a home that you love. So I'm so glad you joined me. And we're going to talk about how you can do that on your own, but also whether you should get help. That's the topic today is should you hire an interior designer? This is a topic that I'll just start and do kind of a broad touch on, and then I'm sure there are going to be more in-depth episodes in the future, but it really depends on you. I want to hear, do you like this topic and is this helpful to you? Did I address what you wanted? If not, please tell me. Please ask questions. Please let me know in the comments. But before you do that, would you please like and subscribe to the video? It really helps me out. It allows me to make more content like this, and I love hearing from you and I love being connected with you. So please like and subscribe. So as you probably already know, I'm Amy Barrickman. I am an interior designer. I've been a designer for over 15 years. And I recently released this book, The Living Room Design Formula. It gives you all of the tools you need to be able to design a room on your own. But today we're talking about should you hire an interior designer. Even if you're using the Living Room Design Formula, you still may want to hire an interior designer for some portion of that journey. And that's what I want to talk with you about. So, first of all, should you hire a designer? Well, that's a really big question. There are a lot of designers out there and they offer a lot of different services. There are designers that cost $500+ per hour, and there are designers that will work for free if you buy furniture from their store. So we have a wide. There are designers that charge more than $500 an hour, and then there are designers that work for free if you buy furniture from their store. So we have a wide range to consider, and you might be able to get help at different levels along your journey. So what are the advantages of having an interior designer? It probably seems pretty obvious, but I want to make sure we're all on the same page. What a designer should do for you is assist you in the design process. And yeah, you might be like, duh, but a designer is not supposed to tell you what you should put in your house. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't make suggestions. Of course, you want their suggestions. You are hiring them because they have great taste. But you need to give the designer a starting off point, and you need to tell them, this is how I live. This is who uses this space. This is when we use it. You need to give them all of that information. This is what I like. I like florals. I like stripes. I like whatever. You are giving them a jumping off point, and then they're going to guide you. So I always feel when I'm working with a client, I'm kind of like a Sherpa or or a personal trainer. My job is, of course, to make suggestions, but it's really to guide how my client wants to live. So an interior designer can do that for you, but you can also do it for yourself because no one knows how you want to live better than you want to live. So in the beginning of a room, that is a great time to hire a designer if they're going to be able to look at your space, look at your raw space, and set it up for you and guide you to come up with the best furniture selection, the best layout, all of these things. Of course, it's very price dependent. You're not going to get that type of help from, let's say, someone who works in a store. This doesn't mean they can't help you with these things, but the person who works in a store, let's say it's someone working at Pottery Barn. Pottery Barn offers design services, and they're great. They're very useful. I certainly am not diminishing them. But it's different than what you would get if you hire a designer. Because at Pottery Barn, obviously their goal is to sell you Pottery Barn furniture, and you're probably, if you think you're already going to buy Pottery Barn furniture, there is use for that. But they're not going to have the ability to get to know everything about you and design this room exactly curate everything for you and the people who use the space the way a traditional interior designer would. It's just because of what they do, they have to go sell more furniture to someone else. When you're paying someone by the hour, they're, they're happy to be there, right? Because they want to know all the details and they're being compensated for their time. So, should you hire a designer? Well, maybe. And if you want that full scale, full service look, if you want everything tailored to your home and you have the budget for it, by all means, hire a designer. And I think I'll probably put in a future video how to pick the right designer because it's a very intimate relationship. I'm working with someone, I know how many pairs of socks they have. I know if we're doing their closet. The point is, I know all about them and their family, and that's how I'm able to give them the absolute best look. If you want someone who's really going to get in there, it is a great path to go, and it is such a valuable journey to take. But not everyone wants that, and I get it. I understand it. It's expensive. But that's not even all of it. It's you're now working with someone else. And if you don't want that type of relationship, if you don't want to be working in a collaboration, if you don't want to be meeting with someone regularly and going over the choices, this might not be the path for you, and that's okay. There are still ways you can use an interior designer that are really beneficial to your design. But even if you have the money, it may not be the best path to hire a full service design firm. Now, what these firms offer is really going to run the gamut. You are going to have firms that will offer everything. They will meet with you and come up with a complete design, including, silverware for your kitchen and throws for your sofas. That is an option. But you'll also find plenty of designers who offer a more a la carte type service. And that is really beneficial, I would say, in most situations. Let's see where it's not. Okay, if you don't live in the place where you are moving, for example, if you have a big budget and you don't live there and what you want it to look like, but you don't really care. You care, but you're not passionate about picking things for it. Well, then using a full service design firm could be perfect for you. And if that's your situation, go for it. Love it. It will be amazing. You'll love it. Just make sure you give the designers a lot of background information so that they can get the best thing for your space. Okay, now let's go down one step. Down isn't even the right word. Let's go over one step. Let's go over to someone who maybe doesn't live there, and you have an unlimited budget still. You guys are probably laughing, like, who has an unlimited budget? Okay, I don't mean unlimited, but you have a generous budget. You're working with some money for this project. You're working with some money, but you really care about the design. A full service design firm still could be the right choice for you, but you want to communicate early on that you want input on these decisions. You want to be working with them every step of the way. The advantage of doing it if you don't live in the area you're moving and you're hiring a firm, the advantage is they're there, so they can help go over to the space or just be aware of how the lighting looks, things that are going to be more challenging for you until you move there. Okay, I realize that's a small portion of people who don't live where they are moving and have a lot of money to spend and have a varied interest level. I realize that's not most people, but those people, a full service design firm is very well suited. And a full service design firm is also well suited to someone who does live in the area, but has a lower level of interest in the actual design. Again, give them a lot of information, but have them come over, have them take the measurements, do the interview, and then let them come up with it. That is a great way to use it, again, for someone with a healthy budget. If you live in the area and you really love the design process, you still can use a full service design firm, But you may also want to consider a slightly less full service design firm. And most firms are going to offer full service, a la carte. Most firms are going to offer that. I'm just trying to give you a directive for what to look for as you're looking for an interior designer. So, for example, in my interior design firm, I charge by the hour, and so does the designer that works with me. So we are able to give full service, but we also are able to help people who just want help along the way. They are invested, they want to come up with the design. I'm almost giving them a full service situation, but because we're doing it a la carte, they can kind of pick up or let go at any point in the process. And if you're someone who loves design, this might be the type of help you're looking for. So, we've talked about hiring a full service design firm and who it's good for. It's really good for people who maybe live far away and have a healthy budget. And it's also good for people who are less interested in the design process but really desire that great looking home. Then the next step would be kind of an a la carte, an by the hour designer. And that designer is great for most people because oftentimes they can offer a full service design. You just want to make sure they have availability, because designers who are working more on an hourly basis, they have a lot of customers and they can't always devote all their time to you. But for most people, this is a really good situation because you can kind of ramp up your design as you want, slow it down if you want to take over more of the process. This is also great for people who maybe are working with a book like The Living Room Design Formula, available on Amazon. My book walks you through every step of the design process. And that doesn't mean that you'll never want to hire a designer. The best way, the most affordable way to hire a designer is to go through the design process on your own and bring in a designer for an hour here, an hour there, to go through the checks and balances and make sure you're going the right way. So in The Living Room Design Formula, available on Amazon, in my book, you will have different chapters, of course, that lead you through the design process. For example, one of them is just entirely on electrical. That chapter you are going to take a look at and decide what you want, and perhaps there you have a designer come over for 1 hour and say, okay, this is what I'm thinking for my electrical plan. Do you agree? Do you have suggestions? What do you think? Okay, caveat, you don't want too many cooks in the kitchen. So I know it's tempting when you're going through design, you want to show your best friend and your mother and your best friend's mother and your designer. And all of these people are going to have opinions, and most of them are going to be great advice based on their experience or whatever. You need to protect your design in the right way. This is a reason why bringing in a designer, in my opinion, is a really good way to do it. Because as a designer who works mostly as an hourly setup, you bring me over, you pay me for my time, I love when people have ideas and they say, okay, I've chosen X, Y, and Z. What do you think? And usually I want to keep them on that path, unless it's really, in my opinion, a miss and they're a missed opportunity, or I just think they're going down the wrong path. I want to work on that path and I want to say yes, and yes, this is great. This option, think about choosing it in a slightly different size or color. Blah, blah. The point is, if someone's hiring me by the hour and they let me know that before they bring me over, this is not full service design, I just want you to confirm what I'm working on or make sure I'm going in the right direction, I want to work with them. So this is someone who already has an interest in design to some degree. You don't have to be super creative or really design oriented, but you like going on Pinterest, or you like going on Instagram, or what are the cool ones? TikTok, whatever. You like going online, you like seeing pretty pictures, that's exciting for you. You know what you want. If you're that person, you already know what you want, but you need help putting it all together. And that's what bringing in a designer for 1 hour here, 1 hour there, that's what that person can really do for you. So if you're that type of person, again, shameless plug, the Living Room Design Formula is a great way to lead you down that path. And even with a tool like this, you still can benefit a lot from getting your work checked by a designer and just making sure that you're not missing any opportunities. So I highly recommend that using a designer for a portion of the design. Okay, before I go on to the next section, I want to talk about using a designer that comes with like a store, like a Pottery Barn or Serena and Lily or one of those. Before we get there, I just want to talk briefly about, well, it's a shameless plug. It's not even talking about something. I want to ask you, please like and subscribe to this video. I bring content like this regularly, and when you like and subscribe, it really helps me. Also, please go to, if you're interested in the Living Room Design Formula, for a limited time, I'm offering a free copy of the ebook. So if you go to LR Design Formula, ready? LR Design Formula, LR for Living Room, designformula.com. You can put in your email and I will send you a free copy of the ebook. And then you'll have all these tools. So you have free access to these tools. But if you want the real thing, which is nice to have the real thing to access, go to Amazon. Okay, that's my shameless plug. Now let's talk about using free in-store design services. These are great for a lot of reasons. So I just want to make sure you know the best way to use them. So as I said earlier, an in-store designer is not going to be able to take you through this whole design process of what you love and bring it to fruition. But an in-store designer can help you with some of the steps that maybe you would otherwise consider hiring a hourly designer to come in and check your work. So you need to come up with your concept first. I wouldn't depend on an in-store designer to come up with your concept. And the reason for that is, even if they do come out to your home, they're working with a handful of items that the store sells. So you're somewhat pigeonholed in the design. But also, most of the times they're not going to come out to your home. You really want someone who can see and feel what your space is like. You are the person who knows that the best. Bringing a designer is helpful here. If you want to do that, definitely they can help you brainstorm, but no one knows your home and the people who live there better than you. So use your information, and there are lots of questions in the Living Room Design Formula that will guide you on that path to know where you're going. The same goes for coming up with those first few things that are kind of like the catalyst for your design. So whether it's a fabric that you love, a shape of a sofa that's really cool to you, a chandelier, whatever the things are, or maybe just one thing that really grabs you, that becomes kind of like the feature of your room, I recommend doing that before you get help from an in-store designer, because I want you to get your design. I want you to get the thing that when you walk down in the morning and you make your coffee, it makes your heart go pitter patter, right? Like, I want you to come out of it with that. And an in-store designer is limited by what they have to sell. So I don't want you to invest time with an in-store designer, their time and yours, and then come out of it and be like, well, this is pretty, but is this what I really want? Or is this what they came up with because it's what they had access to? So, when should you use the in-store designer? Well, after you already have your concept, and maybe even as you're still formulating your floor plan, that could be a good time to use an in-store designer. Oftentimes, they're pretty good at using your measurements and putting things together. And they're definitely great at knowing their product. So if a sofa from Serena and Lily is on the top of your list, by all means, go to Serena and Lily. And if that in-store designer has some really great suggestions for coffee tables and pillows that you love, bonus, that's great. Integrate them into your design. Don't just take the package, that in-store designer doesn't want you to just take the package for the sake of taking the package that they come up with. They want you to get the best design too. And of course, they want you to buy things in their showroom. So if you're already going down that path, I recommend it. Don't get thrown off course by the in-store designer though. Okay, so know what you're using them for. Know where they're going to be most beneficial. They're going to be really good at knowing their product. So when it comes to sizing of furniture in your space, whether you've already come up with the floor plan or you're bringing in the dimensions, this is an area they probably can be quite helpful in. When it comes to choosing the fabrics for upholstered furniture, another area where they are really going to know, they're going to know what works well, they're going to know what's great for their furniture, but they won't know what's great for the way you live. So make sure you're giving them that information. Be very clear. If you have toddlers and juice boxes, make sure you're really clear that I need something that's really going to hold up. And most of them are really good. They're going to ask you these questions, but I just want to make sure you understand before you go in. I want to make sure you understand where the juice is really worth the squeeze, right? So it's really worth it to use their base of knowledge for laying out, for knowing which pieces fit together in this space, and knowing which fabrics work really well on upholstered furniture. And of course, they're really good with the wood and the stone and all that stuff. Knowing the product, that's what they're good at, knowing the product. And there are situations, whether you're using the living room design formula, I'm just going to keep mentioning it, whether you're using my book, The Living Room Design Formula, or not, there are situations where you need someone else's product knowledge. It's a waste of time for you to sit online and go through all these different websites. You want their product knowledge. You want them to be able to tell you, this comes in this many different finishes and all that stuff. So that's where an in-store designer is key. An in-store designer is also going to be great at putting together a package for you. So if you love a sofa and you love a pillow, they might be able to give you 2 other pillow looks and a coffee table. And if you also love those, I want you to go for them. But I don't want you to feel pigeonholed. Buy the pieces that you truly love. And if you don't truly love it, don't buy it. And don't worry about offending the designer, and don't buy it just because it all fits together. Because just because it fits together doesn't mean it's the best choice for you. So I could come up with a room if you hired me and we met 5 years ago and we met today. I could come up with a room that you would love 5 years ago. And I could come up with a room that you would love today. And those 2 rooms would not be the same. And you might not love the other at the other time. Does that make sense? What I'm trying to say is good designers, they will come up with lots of different designs. And that doesn't mean you should just accept them. It needs to be what's best for you. Pick the things you love and don't be afraid to say, hey, I definitely want to buy X, Y, and Z. So let's say it's the sofa and the coffee table and one of the pillows, but I don't like that pillow and I don't like the side tables you picked. They might come up with some other options for you. And if you like those, great. But if you don't, branch out. You don't want your room to look like a package from a catalog. You want your room to have the pieces that you love. You have the picker, right? Now, you want everything to flow together. So that's why in my book, I'm mentioning it again, in my book, The Living Room Design Formula, I walk you through the mood board process. And this is the process that helps you to pick the things you love and then add other pieces so that they all go together. This is a really valuable process. I highly recommend going through it. If you go on LR Design Formula, lrdesignformula.com, for a limited time, you can get a free ebook copy. So that can take you through the mood board process. Or if you want the real thing, you can order it on Amazon. Going through the mood board process, if you have an interest, any level of interest in design, it's really important. And you could do this on your own, you could do it with a hired professional interior designer. An in-store designer can probably help you. Their resources are limited purely by what they have to sell. So recognize that that's not going to be where they offer the best things to you. If you use the mood board process that I offer in the book, it's going to be pretty easy to put things together and know they work together. But it's definitely a time when I recommend that 1 hour of a design time, bringing in a designer for one meeting for 1 hour. Am I on the right track? Is there anything here that you think could be swapped in or out that could improve the design? That's a great way to use it. So we've talked about hiring a full service interior designer, which is great if you have a big budget, or if you're remote, or if you don't have a strong, or even if you don't have a mild interest in design. Hiring a designer by the hour is great for most people, and it's especially good if you want to check the design that you're coming up with along the way. So it gives you the ability to send the designer and say, okay, I want you to really find all the furniture, I'm going to do the accessories, or vice versa. A lot of time it's vice versa, because the accessories pull look together. So that hourly designer is a really good resource for, I would say, most people. If you have a small budget, just bring them in for 1 hour every so often. If you have a medium budget, have them work with you on maybe a weekly basis. They can be like your personal trainer, keeping you on track to make sure you're getting where you need to go. And they can also pick up some of the big parts. And they can also pick up some of the parts of the design. And then the last one is using that in-store designer. Really valuable for certain parts of the design. So use them for your furniture selection, use them for layout help. They're going to be great there. And just focus on a store that already has something that you like. You might find more things you like, but don't get pigeonholed by what that particular store offers. Make sure everything is something that you love. Okay, that's all the time I have for today. So this was talking about the different types of interior designers and should you hire one. I hope it was really helpful. I hope that you'll like and subscribe to the video, and please comment. Let me know if you have lingering questions and if there's other information you're interested in. And this is definitely on my mind, is how best to work with a designer, how to pick the right designer. So if those questions are on your mind, please let me know, because I would love to answer them in a future video. And one last shameless plug, the Living Room Design Formula, it's on Amazon, or you can go to lrdesignformula.com, and that is going to give you a place to put in your email and get a free copy of the ebook. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.